saw the title. This is Zay's music. Let's get right into it. We're talking about these boys right here. What more? What made them so great? And I think the first thing you got to look at is them at their core. What is them at their rawest? And in their rawest is a pure group of friends. That is them at their core. That is them at the base. And that's what makes what they've created so special because, yes, they'll have their individual things, they'll have their solo things. But now, as a collective, as a group of boys from high school, they're now just making music together, doing what they love, sharing it, and making it bigger than it ever was before. And I think that's so clear to see in everything they make. I think the first time I stumbled upon one of their videos, one of their earliest ones, just which I'll get into later, right? It just I thought it was just a group of friends who found a cool indie beat and were just like, yo, we're hanging out. Might as well just record this for fun, right? And then I saw it a couple more times and I realized, oh, this is like a legit thing. But at first, it really just seemed like a group of guys just hanging out, rapping, dancing, having a good time. To the point where like people were leaving comments, I think, being like, "You guys should make a group." Like it wasn't like it's something that was already established. It seemed like just like a group of guys, and it seemed so genuine, so real, which makes it so much easier to root for them, to want to be a fan. And I think that pushes into that social media strategy that they have, because what they did was they just took like very popular, very modern indie songs that people were loving and just rapped over them. They rapped over these beats, they rapped over anything, and they added like quick, witty verses that oftentimes are relevant to whatever's happening in the modern day, like the Knicks playoff run, right? And so you combined indie songs that everyone loves, a genuine environment from the actual artists because they have a clear connection, and then third, just good bars. Like at the end of the day, it was good music. It was enjoyable verses to listen to on enjoyable indie songs with great lyrics that people already loved, right? And so there you had this great core, you had this great viral marketing strategy in the sense that these videos would blow up. I think oftentimes hitting at least 100K, if not in the millions, right? And so once they realized they've had this traction and now this is blowing up bigger than before, right? People now know what more. They don't know the individuals. I knew slightly of a couple guys, right? But no one really knew all of them on their own, at least not enough to build a whole fan base. And so this natural rise, they then needed to explain who each of them are. And they did this in such a brilliant way. And this is what we're going to focus on here, is their album rollout. It's one thing to create viral success for music. It's another thing to capitalize it and turn it into something that is legitimate and actually like focusing on them in the album side and the production side and like the actual music side of like being able to go on tour and sell stuff. And so the first one was the release of Eastside with My Dogs, which came with a backstory for this this man right here, Sebastiano. So Eastside with the Dogs is a hard hitting track. It feels very New York in the sense that it's just like bars, banging, lively. This is a moshing song. This is 100% a moshing song. Very Fresh Fit Survive. And on top of this, with the release, there's a video of Sebastiano. And this video talks about how he is tied to the life that his family's kind of lived, where working, he's always told to just get that kind of 9 to 5, like that trade job, work like the family has, make your money, make your living, Italian family, Italian values, right? But he's always had this passion for music. And it centers around the story of this car that he wants, right? At the end of the day, it's all narrated by his mom talking about his passion, how like he's always told this thing, but he's always wanted to do this. He's always wanted to do music. He's always been making music since all he's had is this like finicky little laptop, right? And so that's the first story. It's this beautiful story of like how like he's kind of gone against the norms, which is kind of a similar theme relatively for most of these guys. They've gone against the norms, made music, now he's making it big, right? That's the first song. Moshing song, great track, great introduction to the group on their own project that isn't like related to indie song. Because although they were making their own verses, it was still like on top of something else. Second track is with Yoshi T video. And this track is called Chicken Shop Date. Now Yoshi T is the one I knew of before because of a couple of songs. But in Chicken Shop Date, this is again another one of those moshing kind of songs. It's very hard hitting, good verses, very lively, very jumpy, right? And on top of that, you get the story of Yoshi T, and it's a conversation, a phone call between him and his dad, and he's kind of like, "Hey, sorry, I can't work at the shop today," right? And it's a restaurant that his dad owns since when he immigrated here, and the dad's kind of like, oh, like how's the music thing going, right? And he was talking about how the success is starting, right? And it's just the story of this bond he has with his dad and this in relationship where it's like his dad brought them here and made this business to start, basically an American dream story. And now here's Yoshi going and doing his music thing and touching on how like the origins of the restaurant and now what Yoshi's doing. And it ends with like them sharing food together. Beautiful story, very touching, and a great track. Now we move on to number 3, Big Man Cisco Swing. And now we go to Go. And Go is a complete vibe switch, in my opinion. It becomes more of a kind of indie track, with more of a let me just kind of riff here. Like I don't want to go, go, go. Like it has that kind of like slow little like melodic flow to it. It's got a very clear chorus that feels like a chorus, and on top of it is a video of Cisco Swink, and he talks about how music is his connection to his family roots and how music to him feels like another language. Like playing the piano feels like another language. It's how he connects back to, I believe, his father or his grandfather, and just this relationship that's built through music, this language of music, and how much it means to him, and how when he feels like he's fluent in it, and it gives him another way to express himself. And it's all done kind of like a therapy style, but also with him just playing the keys. It's a beautiful track. I think my favorite from their instant releases, and a really nice story, as they all have been. And these are all, by the way, filmed really pretty, like really beautifully, alongside great music videos. Song number 4 is Jenny's with Jackson August. And this one is definitely their biggest indie track, and it makes so much sense considering that it's Jackson August that is the kind of star of the show for this song. Because out of the whole group, Jackson August is by far the most out there musically, in the sense that Cisco, Yoshi, Sebastiano, they rap, right? They are rappers. Jackson August is an indie artist at this core. And his video kind of dives into, it touches on that slightly in the sense that it covers him at this restaurant where his parents actually met and fell in love. And he works there and he works there till late. And then his friends, the guys in Whatmore, will pull up to the bar, talk with him. And he's always kind of like, it's hard for him to picture himself in the same position as them because he has a different musical path is kind of what's kind of my understanding of it. And on top of that, how he doesn't want to leave the comfort that is provided by the restaurant to pursue this music thing, but he wants to pursue the music thing. So it's like he wants to pursue something, but he doesn't want to leave this comfort that is given to him at this restaurant, right? Really sweet story, very beautiful story, and a great track. Jenny's, I think, was the one that grew on me the most. I think off first listen, this one was my least interested, but then as I heard it again and again, it quickly rose up, and I think now it is their biggest track, or maybe it's Go. One of those two has just cracked a million as of a little while ago. Actually, let me fact check. It was Go. It was Go. But Jenny's is still doing well. And then final track is, before the album releases, is Elijah Judah's video, and it is Bombay. Keep it alive. Bombay is the most confusing one for me to explain because I feel like it's just a mix of everything. And I think that kind of bodes well to Elijah Judah in the sense that Elijah Judah, in my opinion, seems like the glue. He is the producer. He is the man behind the scenes. He does not rap because in none of the videos does he rap. He's always just there as a person, as a character, but he is still insanely involved. He is a great producer. I believe he has worked with Mavi, who's a phenomenal artist, and just a really talented guy. And in this video, kind of shows how he doesn't put himself in front of the camera. He tries to stay in the back. He tries to continue to be a background guy, but this kind of pushing him out of his comfort zone. And kind of, I think it talks with through him and his mom, and he's kind of like, yeah, I always wanted to like kind of be behind the scenes, and the camera just following him around until finally, um, it showcases him and all the boys join him, and it's a great track. I've been saying that for every one of them, but I've genuinely really enjoyed every track that they've released, and on top of that, it's a great video. But that's how we get these 5 fellas here. Full introductions for all of them. Album releases about a week after Eliza's thing, and I went to this album release party. Got a shirt and everything to prove it. I don't know where it's at right now. That's not relevant. But I think a thing to point out is just how clear it is that they are boys. On stage, before the set, right? They're all together, coming out. They were handing out shirts as a group. You know, laughing, chopping it up, talking to people, like really friendly, really good vibes throughout the night. And then this is the thing I want to point out is Elijah's in the back just producing, right? He's like on stage but in the back corner, and they make it a point to shout him out, make it a point to like give him his props. And I think that's, I mean, it should be expected, but it's just still so nice to see in the moment. And I think this whole album is such a beautiful representation of the group and the like just this pure diversity of the group, because there's also such a diversity in the type of music made. I mean, you look at it and there's Jackie Chan, which frankly has like a rock, like a punk rock kind of vibe to it. I haven't listened to it in a minute, to be frank, but I remember there's this like part that's just like hard, and it goes, and it's not hard rap, it's not an indie thing, it's just different and it sounds so good. They have their slow ones like Slow Down, White Subi, Put On Hearts as well, and then they still do have their bangers like Chicken Shop Day and East Side of My Dogs. Like they have a big range because they have a group that can touch on so many different bases. And so I'm so excited to see what they do next. I think it'd be so sick to have like a jazz incorporated track that Cisco kind of has a bigger lead on. I think more hard hitting mosh tracks would be insane. The slow ones they've seem to be doing really well for them, and I think continue to do those will be incredible. I think they have such a bright future, and I think it's a point that rap groups in general are starting to come back now. I think you see Illusion Hills, you see AG Club, you see Kids Foreplay, Kids at Play, um, couple guys. There's definitely more that I'm blanking on right now, but like there is a growth of potential rap groups, and What More is definitely one at the forefront of it. I remember in their videos, there's always comments being like, "New Brockhampton, la di da di da," and I think that's a boy rap group is always gonna get that. But I genuinely think this is one that's really gonna be pushing it forward, and they just finished a little tour. They finished a lot of things, and it's just so exciting to see what they do next, because what they've done is impressive, and it's going to only continue to grow. I think while the first album wasn't perfect, it was a great start. Clearly, if fans messed with it, has grown them to over 200,000 monthly listeners, um, and it's only going to keep growing from here. So, what more? These boys right here, check them out. Stay in the loop because they ain't going nowhere. Peace.